All right, we're gonna talk about why I am giving up the flat barbell bench press. I hit this point a few months ago where I just decided I will not do the flat barbell bench press again. Even when I was really starting KinoBody, I wasn't doing much flat bench pressing. I was going hard at the incline, really incline, getting strong at incline, overhead press, and dips is really the key to building amazing proportion, getting in the upper chest, the big shoulders, the thick triceps. And so I parted ways with the flat bench for a while, and then I'd always sort of come back to the flat barbell bench press. Now, the main reason why I'm not doing it anymore is simply it just does not feel good for me. When I'm doing the flat barbell bench press, the scalpel is pinned against the bench and I've tested different angles and nothing really feels great, especially when I'm going really, really heavy, going for a heavy 5 to 6 rep lift. It just doesn't feel good on my shoulders. My shoulders hurt after. The next week, sometimes I'll do flat bench. The next week, I'll just feel weaker. It just kind of feels like quicksand. The more you do the bench, the worse you feel and the shittier you get on it. And I've noticed this with a lot of friends and clients where the flat barbell bench press is the most stubborn lift. People just easily get stuck on the flat bench press. A lot of times they'll get stronger on dumbbells, but that flat bench can just be the bane of their existence. They're stuck at the whatever it is, 225, they just get stuck on it. Now, the important thing is that any exercise that is stubborn, that you have a hard time progressing on, some people tell you, oh, that means you really gotta do more of it. You gotta be doing more of it. It's the opposite. Muscle comes from progressive overload. Muscle comes from increasing strength. If an exercise is incredibly stubborn, that means your body just doesn't respond well to it. If there's a movement that's a similar motion, a chest press, that you can get much stronger on and achieve faster progressive overload, that's gonna allow you to build much more muscle. The second thing really with the flat barbell bench press is that there was a period where I got very, very strong on it. I was 30 years old. I got really strong on the weighted dip. In fact, me doing weighted dips increases my bench press more than just doing bench press. But at one point, I got very strong on the bench press. I spent a few months getting very strong on weighted dips. I started doing the benching, and I got to the point where I was hitting 350 for 3 reps. That's around 180 pounds. That's incredibly heavy. And I did that for a couple months where I'd be doing once a week, I'd be doing the heavy benching. And I had this pain in the sternum. Every time I would do some sort of benching, it would hurt. And so I've just noticed that when people really dedicate themselves to heavy flat benching, there usually comes injuries with that, whether it's a sternum pain, a shoulder injury. I mean, if you see a lot of guys that go on high amounts of steroids, testosterone, you'll see these pec tears where their muscles grow faster than their actual tendons and they can rip the muscle off the bone. But benching is just kind of linked to injury. You might not notice it right away, but after years and years and years of trying to achieve progressive overload, trying to work your way up to 250, 275, 300, things start to break down. Whereas with the dumbbells, it's a much smoother motion. Even a lot of machines now, they just feel much better. And as you push, the handles come in a little bit. It's just a great movement. It feels much safer and you're not back pinned up as much. So I really prefer doing dumbbells and machines. I even feel like for me right now, there's this limiter. Because of the sternum, because of some of these injuries, my nervous system doesn't fire very well on the flat bench press because I just can't lift the same amount I used to. It's like almost like my body will not give me nervous system activation. So that just makes it a very annoying exercise to do. Doesn't feel great. And again, I'm gonna be limited on it. If I can't fire my CNS, if I can't fire my muscles into action very, very efficiently, it's just simply not gonna be a great move. And if we're talking about aesthetics, right? Doing some incline presses, right? Doing some dips, I feel is gonna give you a much better look. If we're talking about functionality, just doing the incline or even the incline hammer press, that's more of an athletic movement. You know, the real bench press, if you see very strong bench people lifting, they're fully arched, their shoulders are back, and they're just doing this. This is not a functional movement. If you're pushing a person or an object or a car, the hands are moving usually at an upward angle. If you're throwing a punch, it's boom, boom. It's not this, you're not punching like this, right? So I find it not to be as functional. The incline is much better. Incline hammer is much better. So I prefer doing incline work, incline hammers, and a little bit of either dips, you know, or a little flat machine I find works much better. But, you know, my advice for guys that just, I've been doing the bench for a while, they're stubborn, the weight's not coming on, maybe it doesn't feel as good, is you do not have to do the bench press. For whatever reason, the flat bench press has become so glorified as the king of all upper body exercises. And it actually wasn't the case. weights. If you go back to the 30s, there was a point in time when benching wasn't a thing. If you wanted to do the bench press, you'd have to lift the barbell up, come back, and then do the bench. That was when people were way more focused on overhead pressing, lifting objects over their head, and they built great shoulders, thick upper chest. And so the barbell bench press is overrated. In fact, my favorite chest movement is the incline hammer press. I've been able to get very, very strong on that. I built up to 4 plates a side for 8 reps while being like 177. And so I just enjoy that movement. And so my advice for you is when you're picking your key lifts, you want to have a key lift for your chest, shoulders, back. When you're selecting your key lifts you want to get strong on, you want to pick the movement that one, you enjoy doing. I've been lifting weights since I was 13. I've been lifting weights for 20 years. If I hate doing a movement, it's not gonna be as fun. So I wanna pick movements I enjoy doing, and I wanna pick the movements that I can progressive overload on. And then every few weeks I'll change them up. But I'm not using the flat bench anymore. It just does not feel good. I come back weaker, things don't feel as good. And so that's a very, very clear sign to get rid of this movement. And so for you, it could be the flat bench press, or it could be some movement in your routine that simply does not work well with your body. It makes you more prone to injury. Maybe you're not able to activate your central nervous system as well. And so you're not able to pour everything into it. And this is also a benefit of doing push-ups, even weighted push-ups. The body's very efficient at activating your muscles when you're pushing against, the floor. You don't have to worry about stabilization. You just push. It's a closed chain movement. Your hands are fixed. So you want to look at what exercises are holding you back and that you're very, very stubborn on, and just remove them and find the movements that work well. In Miami, I have a gym that I recently joined. Usually shoulder press machines I don't find work well. It's too far forward. It just feels awkward. But I found one that has a great shoulder press machine where I can load up. I was loading up 3 plates on this thing. I might have even gone heavier. Just felt amazing. And so you want to pick the movements that feel great. You want to track those weights and reps, and you want to focus on hitting those personal records. So from my experience, the bench probably is one of the most stubborn movements for most guys. And it's honestly better to just not bench. And then if you want to come back and test yourself on the bench, a lot of times if you increase your strength on your incline presses or your dips, the bench just increases through byproduct of improving strength. So that's my advice. If you guys want to use my routines for gaining muscle, losing fat, I'm doing a new chest master routine, then you can get inside the KinoBody app. I'll put a link in the description. We've got amazing feedback on the app. People are freaking loving it. You can rotate movements. If you want to do the bench, you can select to do the bench, but I just prefer machines, dumbbells, and stuff like that at this point of time. And now that I'm 33, I'm getting a bit older, I'm picking the movements that work best with my body.